can hear me, can you flash your mic, please? Or if you're able to turn your mics on, turn your mics on. Okay, perfect. I'm so sorry. I was sent to this room, and then I was sent to another breakout room. So we've just been dealing with a couple of technical difficulties, but I just want to introduce myself. My name is Amen, and I am a poet. I'm also an educator and a teaching artist. And Salome, who you just heard, is one of my students. So just very excited to be here and to talk a little bit about poetry and get to know each and every one of you. So I see Sunburst Academy. There's a lot of folks in there. Hi. I see Sienna, Olivia, Serenity. If we can, just take a brief moment to check in the chat. And if you are joining us from Sunburst, feel free to check in out loud if you're able to unmute and maybe one person volunteer. I would love to know your name, just one word to describe how you're feeling and your age. You can type into the chat, or you can also unmute if you'd like. And for those of us that are joining us, just even if you're not sharing in the chat, think about one word to describe how you're feeling and maybe just write it down somewhere.
Hey, you guys stand up.
Oh. Hi, I'm Hernandez, and I feel happy.
What's your first
And your
name?
age?
Oh, I'm 17 years old. Oh,
17.
I'm Amarissa Hernandez, sorry.
Thank you so much. I have a few folks checking in with me. So feeling good, age 12, feeling fine. If you don't mind, I'm going to call some people that I see in the breakout room. So Autumn, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling tired.
Tired? Okay, I hear you. It's a Saturday morning still. Maddie, 12, feel tired. I hear you too. Anna Key, are you with us?
I'm here. Hi.
Hi. Okay, so a lot of this workshop is based around discussion, sharing, and getting in touch with your feelings. Who here is familiar with poetry? You've at least heard one poem in your life. Yes, thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay, cool. What is poetry? It's a very open-ended question, but when you hear a poem, what are some of the things that make it a poem? I'll throw out a really obvious one. Some people think that poems always have to rhyme, right? So when you hear a rhyme, you're like, oh, that's a poem. How about feelings, right? Feelings, emotions, poems usually have you getting in touch with those. Is anyone in here a poet themselves? Do I see any hands? Okay, thumbs up from Maddie. Maddie, can you unmute for us for just a second and let me know what is a poem to you?
I would say like a poem is something that has meaning behind it and something that's special to you in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so something that's special to you. I'm going to type that into the chat so everyone can see it. Anybody else? Olivia, how about you? Expression. I love that. I'll type that into the chat for other folks. Okay, mic isn't working. That's totally fine. Sienna, how about you? You can type into the chat. Many, many emotions, someone said. Feelings. Okay, perfect. This is really what I'm trying to get at. It's about emotions, it's about feelings, and it's about self-expression. my talk today is about being unapologetically yourself. And so I'll share a little bit about my journey and what it meant to become a poet for me. So I started off in like high school and college wanting to be a doctor, realized very quickly that I'm terrified of blood, so that's not going to happen. And, it was hard to kind of go against what my parents wanted for me too, but I always found myself behind a computer or with a notebook, writing and expressing myself. And that was always, always a constant. And it took some time and it took a lot of risks, but I eventually found my path and figured out how to be a full-time poet. I had the opportunity to join a slam team and tour the nation, perform at different colleges and universities, host workshops like this. And the fabric, right? The thing that was always weaving from one experience to another was just choosing myself and not apologizing for who I am, right? Like, I think a lot of the time you have other people telling you what you should do and who you should be, but there is that like inner constant, that like beating compass of yours that will guide you in that right direction. And so I want to open up the discussion a little bit to talking about what makes you happy, and has there ever been a time in your life where an external force, so someone else, it could be a parent, it could be a friend, expected something different from you? And folks from Sunburst Academy too, when y'all unmuted, that was awesome. So if there's another person, like a one person that wants to share their experience, we're just going to discuss a little bit more and then get into some writing. That's what I really, really want y'all to have from this workshop, is just time to write and time to really get in tune with your own expression. So thinking about the notion of apology, right? What do you want? What do other people want from you? And are there times in your life where you are apologizing for whatever that authentic part of you is? So I'm going to pose a question into the chat that I think might be easier for everyone else to answer. But what does it mean to apologize? What does an apology sound like? Maybe what are some words you say when you're apologizing? That you are sorry. I'm sorry. You say that you are sorry for a mistake you made. Okay, great. Anybody else? Saying you're wrong. And how do you feel when you're saying sorry? It means saying you're sorry and admitting you're wrong. Yep. Upset. You feel meaningful. Sometimes you feel guilty. Yeah, these are really, really good words. If a friend apologizes, it's meaningful. Wonderful. Perfect. Really meaning it. Okay. It means you really care about them. Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, y'all are in the right headspace. We're gonna take just 5 minutes. Does everyone have something to write on? Just give me thumbs ups. Okay. I want you to take just 5 minutes and make a list of anything you've ever apologized for. So I'll give you a couple of examples. At times, I've apologized for being too loud. I've apologized for taking up too much space. I've apologized for something as simple as cutting my hair. Sometimes I've apologized when I've hurt someone else's feelings. What I want you to realize is at times those apologies are valid and they're necessary, and other times we're actually apologizing for things we don't need to apologize for. And I think making that list is going to help us see what those differences are. So I'm just going to set a timer for 5 minutes and we're going to just try to make a list. Don't put too much pressure on yourselves. just let yourself write and see what comes out. And then we'll check back in 5 minutes. So we're going to check back in at 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. Sorry. Does anyone have any questions? Is anyone like, oh, I don't even know where to start? All right, so give me a thumbs up or flash your mic if you feel like you're ready to go into the writing. Perfect. Okay. All right. See you in 5 minutes. We have one more minute. There's one more minute. Okay, and that is your time. It's been 5 minutes. Please flash your mics if you're done, or give me a thumbs up. Perfect. Okay, so now that we've had some time to write, you know that I am itching to hear what you wrote. Is anyone feeling brave and willing to share? It doesn't have to be the whole list. I would love to hear the whole list if you're willing to share, but it could just be 1 or 2 things from the list. So I have some people letting me know in the chat, bumping into someone. Yes, that is definitely something that folks have apologized for. I know I apologize for that. Anybody else? Is anyone willing to unmute and read?
Rocha, go. Set up.
Okay. So we do have people that are willing to share.
Annalise said that she messaged me and said for making a mistake or stepping on someone's shoes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Okay, Autumn is willing to share. So I think there's folks at Sunburst too. We're going to go to you right afterwards. We'll start with Autumn. We'll go to Sunburst, and then Lola let me know that they want to read. So then we'll go to Lola after that.
One of the ones that I wrote down was my personal opinion.
Can you share a little bit more about that? Like maybe a time in your life where you would apologize for that?
Yeah, like for example, trying to think, like maybe if someone was like, oh yeah, like the school dress code should be there, and then I would say something along the lines of like, oh well, I don't think that it's quite fair, and then people would like sometimes like whenever I would share my opinion on something like that, people would get irritated or like they didn't agree with me and made me feel like I needed to apologize just for having my own opinion.
That's really powerful. Thank you for sharing that. Has anyone ever apologized for their opinion? I know I have. Sometimes even when I feel like my opinion is valid, I'm still like, oh, sorry. Okay, so thank you. Anybody else? So Sunburst, folks over there. I think I see someone standing up ready to read.
That's me. My name is Brianna, and we made a list of things that we apologize for, and those are for letting things slide, for not being sympathetic, for not being the best sister, for jumping to conclusions, for disappointing our parents, for talking too loud, and to myself for putting myself down, for hurting someone else's feelings, and to my mom for embarrassing her.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to give you some snaps for all of those. Thank you so much. That was a really powerful list. Did anyone relate to anything on that list? I know I did. Is it Kat? You just raised your hand. What did you relate to on that list?
Just all of it, honestly.
I think there was something in there about disappointing parents. Has anyone ever felt sorry about disappointing their parents? Right? What does that feel like? That moment where you're like, oh no, did I disappoint them? How do you feel? Shameful. Ooh, that's powerful. I've definitely felt shameful, maybe sometimes embarrassed or sometimes just really sad. Okay, we're not going to stay in this place of sadness or shame though. What do you feel like when you're not apologizing? When you're being unapologetic? When you're loving yourself and you're surrounded by people who love you? Someone said confident. Oh yeah, you do feel confident. You feel powerful. What else? Yeah, Delilah said powerful and confident. Peaceful, Annalise said. Autumn said important. These are all really, really special words. I want you to hold on to them. You know, I want you to hold it on to them like you would anybody that you really care about, or like a necklace that you like, or anything that means something to you. I want you to hold on to these words. Hold on to important, hold on to peaceful and powerful and confident, because we're going to come back to that in just a second. Before all of that, though, there were a few people that wanted to read their lists. Lola, are you willing to unmute and read your list?
One of the things I put on my list was like when someone was being mean to me and a teacher got involved, and I was the one who ended up apologizing to them.
And you apologized to your peer or a friend, maybe?
Yeah.
And how did that feel?
It kind of made me mad because I wasn't the one who did anything, but they didn't end up apologizing.
I'm hearing a common thread here, right? So how many people have apologized for something that they don't need to apologize for? Whether it's your opinion, whether it's to somebody who, you know, might have also hurt you, but you're the one saying sorry. Maybe sometimes it's your parents, maybe sometimes it's a friend. Who's ever apologized to themselves? Creek says, my friends say I apologize too much. Annalise is raising their hand. Delilah's giving me a thumbs up. You know, someone in the chat is saying, I always think about being disappointing and feeling upset when you apologize. I see a lot of hands raising. How about someone at Sunburst Academy? Has anyone over there, have you ever apologized to yourself? Or felt sorry that you didn't look different or act different? Yeah. Olivia, are you willing to unmute and share a little bit about that? Or did you say that the unmute isn't working, maybe? You can type into the chat too. Oh, there you go. Ah, no, I don't think I can hear you. I would love to hear from you though. So just type into the chat. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to transition in just a second. We're talking about apologizing, right? What it means to apologize to others, what it means to apologize to ourselves. If anybody can type into the chat or just take a moment, we might take a minute or two. What are the ways you've apologized to yourself or wanted to change yourself? So I'll type that.
Hey there. I just wanted to check in and make sure everything's going okay with tech and everything. We're good?
Yes, we're solid.
Okay, great.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No problem.
So one more time, what are the ways you've apologized to yourself or wanted to change yourself? And for this one, let's just take a minute and a half right? You've already written down your list. Now I want you to just build on that list a little bit, but get more personal, right? Less about what you do to other people, but more about how you feel about yourself. So we're going to take just a minute and a half. And if you need more time, I'll give you more time. But the ways you've apologized for who you are and the ways you might have wanted to change yourself. And we'll take just a minute and a half, starting now. Okay, just up in a few seconds. Everyone is sending me these direct messages. I just want you to know I'm reading them. Thank you so much. A lot of these things are not things, all of them are not things that you should be apologizing for. Is anyone willing to unmute and share out loud? Let's just take maybe 2 more people. We're going to jump into some reading and some writing. All right. I see Autumn with their hand up. Please unmute.
Sometimes people like, especially like friends that I'm luckily not friends with anymore, they'll make me, like they used to make me feel like I needed to apologize for doing something that was just like a part of me being me. And so I think like later on I realized, like after telling myself that I should stop doing that, like I would apologize to myself saying, no, it's fine that you did that. You weren't the problem, they were.
Yes, yes. That self-conviction, that like belief in yourself and staying true to who you are is so important. So thank you so much for sharing. Sienna, I think you had your hand up. I can't hear you. If you can unmute. Let me try to, I'm asking you to unmute. I just can't hear you right now. Oh, you weren't raising your hand. That's totally fine. I'm looking at Sunburst Academy. Can someone in that lovely big room share? Do we have a brave volunteer?
Okay. What are ways you apologize to yourself? It's right there on the side. Okay. Mouth. Okay.
I believe one way I've apologized to myself is getting myself involved with people I should not have been involved with, and how do you apologize for? I don't really understand that question.
You understand what you have to say.
Oh, okay.
No, you're good. Okay. I wanted to ask what you don't understand about the question.
Oh, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like 2 versions of the question, but you answered it just fine. So thank you so much. Is there anybody Anybody else that wants to share?
I'm Marissa. Or George. Hey,
hurry up, we don't have all day.
Where I would apologize to myself for what I would want to change about, what I wanted to change myself is like being so shy. Like I wish I had more of a voice than being so shy. Like I think that's that's it.
Well, look, you weren't shy right now. You came up in front of the class and you shared. So that's something you should be giving yourself credit for. Who's ever apologized? You're great. Ever apologized for something like that? Who can relate to that? Maybe you've apologized for being too shy, being too loud, just different parts of who you are, right? Okay. We already touched on a little bit what it feels like to not apologize for yourself. And you were all throwing out some really important words. It feels like liberating, peaceful. You feel important, powerful, confident. One of my favorite poets, and I'm sure she's a poet that you all know, Maya Angelou, has a poem called Phenomenal Woman. Who's heard of this poem, Phenomenal Woman? It's pretty popular, but there's always a lot of people who haven't heard it. Has anyone heard it? Delilah, raised your hand. Okay, I'm going to take a moment to screen share. And I would love for us to read this poem together, but I'm doing a lot of talking, so I don't want to be the one to read it. I would love if someone feels comfortable sharing, reading this poem out loud instead of me reading it. I would love for you to read it.
Okay.
Screen share. So it's called Phenomenal Woman. It's by Maya Angelou.
Introduce
And
yourself
it's
first.
going to lead us to the next prompt that we write about. But
Can I read it?
yes. All right. Can you tell me what's her name?
I'm Kaya. And
Kaya. Hi, Kaya.
hi. Okay, can I start? Pretty woman wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size. But when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenal woman, that's me. I walk into a room just as cool as you please, and to a man, the fellows stand or fall down on their knees. Then they swarm around me, a hive of honeybees. I say, it's the fire in my eyes and the flash of my teeth, the swing in my waist and the joy in my feet. I'm a woman, phenomenal woman, that's me. Men themselves have wondered what they see in me. They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery. When I try to show them, they say they still can't see. I say it's in the arch of my back, the sun of my smile, the right of my breath, the grace of my style. I'm a woman, phenomenal woman, that's me. Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud. I say, it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, the need for my care. Because I'm a woman, phenomenal woman, that's me.
Ooh, can we all please clap and show some love to Kaya? You did a wonderful job reading this poem. All right, I'll stop screen sharing for just a second. Amazing job. Thank you. All right, so Phenomenal Woman, Maya Angelou, an absolute classic. I love hearing this poem. How do you feel after hearing this poem? Let's just throw some words into the chat, or you can unmute and share.
Powerful. Woman strength.
Powerful, yes. What else? Calm.
Confident.
I love that, yes. Here is the poem into the chat. I just dropped the link, so if you are on a computer, you can click it. And access the words. I want to know if there's any words or any lines that stuck out to you that you really liked. And I want to know why they mattered to you. So Delilah says it was inspiring. I think it was inspiring too. I'll screen share again for just a moment for folks who might not be behind a computer, but let's look at one of these stanzas. Let's look at the last stanza, this one right here. Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud, right? She's saying it ought to make you proud. Talking about the bend of my hair and the palm of my hand, and repeating, I'm a woman, phenomenally woman, that's me. In here, Maya Angelou talks about her inner mystery, arch of my back, sun of my smile, fire in my eyes, flash of my teeth, swing of my waist, stride of my step, span of my hips. Which of these lines stick out to you most? Someone said the span of my hips. That's a great line.
Go, George. Huh? Babe, one that stood out to me was the line where it says, men themselves have wondered what they see in me. The word wonder made me think because they're trying to figure out me, myself, but only I know who I am.
Yes. There's a rejection happening, right? What is that rejection? It's like when you really own who you are, you reject what other people think about you. You reject the opinions they put on you, the expectations, the standards, and it lets you really, really hone in on your power. So I love that you brought up that line. Men themselves have wondered what they see in me. They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery, right? Is Maya Angelou someone who defines herself, or does she let other people define her? She defines herself 100%. Yes. Okay, awesome. I will stop screen sharing for just a second, and we're going to take the next 7 minutes to write our own phenomenal woman poem. You wrote a list about the things that you apologize for. You wrote a list about things that you apologize to yourself about. Now I want you to write a poem about your self-love. Right? So take that list. I want you to reject the things on it, just like Maya Angelou does. You don't have to apologize for being too loud or being too small. You don't have to apologize to anybody who's made you feel less than, any friend who's told you how to feel. This is a poem that is just for you. It's a poem about the things you love about yourself, just like Maya Angelou did. And if you want to throw in the phenomenal woman line, you get a couple extra points for that. You can pay homage to the great Maya Angelou. So I'll write the prompt in the chat. Write a poem. Write a poem about the things you love about yourself. Think about touch, taste, sound. Think about your 5 senses, right? It can be how you look, it can be how you smell, it can be, you can use like taste and colors around you. Think about what it feels like to love yourself. And someone is asking if you're going to have to share it. No one will be forced to share, but you will be encouraged to share. So if you feel comfortable sharing, that's wonderful, that's perfect. We're gonna take the most amount of time to do this. So a total of 7 minutes. And if anybody needs more time, I can, more than happy to give you more time, but think of it as like a letter to yourself. And instead of writing about the things that you're apologizing for, you're writing about the things that you celebrate, the things that you're unapologetic about. Does anyone have any questions? All right, can I just get flashing mics or thumbs up if you're ready to go, and I'll put some time on the clock. All right. Perfect. Sunburst, you look ready to go. In 7 minutes, we'll check back in. All right, thank you all. Okay, I see that breakout rooms are actually closing in less than a minute. So that means that we're not going to get to the sharing portion. And a lot of you probably haven't finished this writing activity. I'm so sorry that we ran out of time, but that means that later on today, you can keep writing this self-love poem. Thank you all so much for being here. The point of this workshop was to celebrate that you are all phenomenal women and you have absolutely nothing at all to apologize